all that fun stuff. All right, guys, second part to a video I literally just ended. But I had to give this piece a little bit of time to cool, and let's turn it around and check it out. So here is a 1080 high carbon Kukri with a deer antler handle. It's a little different, but it actually feels pretty good in the hand for the most part. Now it is going to take a little bit of time to transform this. So I figured I might as well see what I can do as far as finishing this out, because it shouldn't take too long. I'm not going to do the sharpening or final finishing here, but it's just going to be a matter of finishing out the handle, getting it stained, wiping it down, all that fun stuff. And a lot of this comes down to ergonomics. We must have form and function. So it's got to look good, but it's also got to feel good. It's got to be functional. Very important part of knife making. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do so. And I need my glasses. They're back here. I'm also going to need a pair of gloves because this is still quite warm. So here's my gloves. And I'm using kind of a loaded up, a worn 36 grit. And what that'll do is, this is something I really don't want to use on a blade because it's going to heat up. It's not going to cut even. It's not going to give me a good product. So I use these up once they're used up on blades, and they go for handle use. Now there's a couple runs I could cut those off and remelt them, but I think in this case I probably just want to grind. Cleaning up holster area. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start working on the pommels. And you can see how there's a hole in the middle of it. That's some contraction during cooling. Alright, well apparently I had it too thin on the edge here and it actually ground into the tang channel. So there's a couple ways to fix that I'm going to work on here in just a few, but so far here's the Kukri. I thought I guess this was a little aggressive and it did grind in a little deeper than I anticipated. And part of that may have also been from May have also been from the heat. So I'm going to see what I can do here to fix that. First, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up on the surface conditioner. So sometimes it gets expensive when you're doing this because while I'm talking here, I should have been paying a little more attention to what I'm doing. So once you come over for some beer and brisket, that sounds good, but I would, yeah. I don't know when I would get time, but thank you. Yells and Viking boy. Steel, absolutely. So I have my stag-handled kukri that actually feels really good in the hand. Where's balance on this? This is almost center balance. This is very fast. It's light. I like it. Let me show you what I was talking about, guys. Ow, right there. So I can't sell this as a number one. I can't sell this as new pristine because there's an issue here. Now, some people say, take the handle off, put a new one on. There's an issue with that. I poured molten pewter on this, and in order to do that, I would end up destroying the handle completely and possibly having to reheat treat my blade if I don't destroy it as well. So, unfortunately, I made a mistake. Fortunately, there's something called wood filler, and this is dark walnut. I have some dark walnut stain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this thick wood filler and I'm going to apply it generously. I'm going to let it dry and then I will sand it and then I will stain this. Now, like I was saying, I should have been paying a little better attention. Maybe I should have planned it out a little better. And sometimes distraction can cause some issues. But like I said, I do have my stag-handled kukri right here with the center balance. Now, most people are going to want this to be more forward-weighted for that chopping, but this is quite fast. This is a very fast piece, and I like it. The other thing is, being a lighter blade, this is good steel. This is 1080 high carbon. I can use this as a draw knife. There's a lot I can do with that. And being that this is poured pewter, well, it's locked together. It's very strong. It's not going to shrink away. So down the center of this, there's a channel that's filled with pewter as well. That's all locked onto the tang. So in order to take this apart, you're going to have to use a hammer. And you're going to destroy it in the process. So I'm going to see what I can do. This has a good weight to it. That thrust is a little different because you kind of got to angle it up instead of... But I think that would work well for an outdoor knife or for martial arts practice. But what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm letting this dry, which it's getting there. Pretty quick, actually. And I'm going to go ahead and sand it. Yes, that's what it is. The other cool thing is, being a longer blade like this, you can block with it along the majority of your forearm. At least my forearm, I'm not as tall as a lot of people. So this is what I tell people when I'm teaching them to make knives. I tell them, I said, it's not doing it right the first time, it's knowing how to fix it if it doesn't go right. This is one of those cases where it didn't go right. Now, I may have to apply this more than once, but I'm hoping that it covers enough and sets up enough that I can go ahead and start adding my stain. Now, it hasn't been set very long, but let's find out. And one thing I am going to do, the maroon, the red belt is a little aggressive. So I'm going to go to a rather extremely worn, and people are going to say, why haven't you thrown that belt away? Blue belt, which in good condition is equivalent to a T20. But I'm gonna clean a little bit more of this up. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I got. This is filled in. I mean, it's noticeable. I'm not going to lie and try to say, hey, it's not there, because it definitely is. I really wish I hadn't done that, because this is an awesome knife. Still an awesome knife, just not perfect. I don't make too many things that are perfect, but now I'm going to work on the staining part of this. I'm going to grab a chair or a stool. Give me just a moment. And a couple paper towels, I think. All right. So, in India, we have special Gurkha battalion, which is of Nepali people, and they use this knife. They are fearless. I've heard about the Gurkha. I've never met one. I've heard they are small in stature, but very very cool as far as being combative. And yes, it is a Kukri. Yes, Nepal style. And I do make bolos at times. This was more bolo style before I reforged it. So here is a stag handled Kukri. I'm waiting to see if I have a delivery. It looks like I might have a delivery. If so, it will take a moment. Okay, so I have some Minwax dark walnut, and maybe it will blend away some of my discrepancy that I've created on the handle. But this is going to be the first coat. Once more, if you haven't subscribed yet, great time to do so. Now this is whitetail deer antler, and this stain I'm going to leave on for just a little bit, but I'm definitely going to try to darken this up right in here. Now I have some of the stain that was mixed with mineral spirits and boiled linseed oil, and it seems to be very thick at this point. I don't know how well it will absorb into this material, and I kind of want a darker handle. So this is where I'm at right now. And the small brush actually allows me to get into a lot of those nooks and crannies, hills and valleys, just irregularities. What the hell that was? All right. So I'm just going to let this sit for a moment. It's a good time. We'll just put some weight on the blade since it's center balanced. And I'll give it a moment. Let's see. All right. Now, some people will let this will let the stain sit longer, and I think this works okay. Oh yeah, that is working pretty awesome. So there is my first coat. And that rather viscous material right there. So this is my general rule when I have a discrepancy like that, which isn't terrible. But it could be better. That stain to the handle makes a world of difference. But let's go ahead and add just a bit more. You do have to be cautious about using oil on something you've stained, because if it hasn't fully set, it has a tendency to leach the stain out. But this is looking good to me. And I'm going to let that sit. A great use for an old gravy boat right there. Works very well for stain. All right, once more, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do so. I'm going to give it just a short amount of time. Now, in some cases, I'll leave stain or I will leave oil on a handle for some time. The problem is when it starts to thick up, kind of turn into varnish, it's harder to clean up. It is harder to remove that excess. So what I'm doing, I'm just going through and wiping off stuff so I don't have to clean it up later. But this looks pretty good. Minus a couple discrepancies in that pour. And that happens sometimes. That's why when I get one that's really good, you pay extra for it. Because it costs me a lot of money to go through and redo them. And in this case, I mean, I'm okay with this. I would be happier if I didn't have that little discrepancy right there. Everything is solid. I am center balanced for the most part. I mean, literally just in front of the bolster. And I have a cool kukri now. If you haven't subscribed, it's a great time to do so. Hello to everyone who said hi. Be sure to check out some of the other videos. Hit the notification button, like and subscribe, and check out the links in the description. We'll be back with more builds. We'll see you.